What if your relentless drive or your ability to stay calm under immense pressure is coming at a massive cost? Your deadlines are always met and everyone around you sees you as the model of success. But that superhuman ambition, that celebrated work ethic can actually be a desperate warning sign from your body's internal battery. Hey, I'm Catherine, and I've worked with hundreds of leaders worldwide on burnout prevention. I myself learned this truth the hard way. When we are so focused on our success, we easily fall back on our dominant stress response and nervous system pattern. It often brings us first immense success, gets us ahead of the game and to the top. But before we know it, it can also turn into our biggest weakness and burnout risk if we stay there for too long. And this is what nobody talks about. Once I realized this, it forced me to completely rebuild my relationship with leadership, with energy and my own success. What I'm sharing with you today is what I wish I would have known years ago. So stick around until the end of this video. It will potentially save you lots of unnecessary stress and protect you from imminent burnout. So all of our behavior, thinking, and how we experience life is run by our nervous system on autopilot. Think of our nervous system as a sophisticated internal battery, your powerful operating system. When it's healthy and regulated, it operates beautifully, efficiently powering you through your day, recharging with rest and providing a steady, reliable source of energy. But when it becomes dysregulated, one of two power outages occur. Either your battery is dangerously overheating, stuck in permanent high charge mode, burning through energy at an unsustainable rate, or it's so depleted it refuses to hold a charge at all, leaving you running on fumes no matter how much you try and recharge. What if the very traits that used to get you success are now actually symptoms of one of these battery outages? The leader who never stops moving might have an overheating battery, stuck in overactivation, their fight or flight system permanently on. The leader who appears calm and unfazed might have a depleted battery, stuck in underactivation, their system so shut down it can barely generate enough power to feel anything at all. This is the core paradox of high achiever burnout. On the outside, you look like you're thriving and the ultimate success, but on the inside, you're actually just surviving. Your internal battery is either stuck in a silent, high alert state, burning through energy it can't sustain, or it's collapsed into such deep depletion that it can barely function. And in both cases, a total system failure is just around the corner. These are the 4 survival responses now I teach leaders to identify: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Today we're talking about when we can't seem to stop, where our battery is overheating from constant activation. We're also talking about when we look calm but feel nothing, when our battery is so depleted it won't hold a charge. We're going to get into the 5 most common signs that your nervous system is completely fried. Signs that show up at both ends of the spectrum and are so easily mistaken for admirable qualities that almost no one, including you, recognizes them for the red flags that they actually are. You might push harder, work longer, and try to achieve more while your battery overheats from chronic overactivation, or you might appear composed, measured, and unshakable, but your battery is so depleted you've lost access to the very emotions that make life meaningful. You're told both of these are what success looks like, but behind the scenes, whether you feel agitated, exhaustion, or numb disconnection, the message is the same. Your nervous system is running on empty. This isn't the price of success, it's the quiet, devastating cost of a nervous system that's lost its ability to regulate. Whether your body's alarm system is stuck in the on position, constantly braced for a crisis, or it's collapsed into off mode, too depleted to respond to anything, you're left feeling both physically exhausted and unable to access your full leadership capacity. Let's get into the first sign that your so-called drive or composure is actually your system crying out for help. Sign number 1, relentless productivity mistaken as drive. The first sign is a relentless, almost compulsive need to be productive. Everyone around you calls it your incredible drive or your unmatched work ethic. But here's what's actually really going on. This isn't ambition. It's a state of chronic overactivation where your sympathetic nervous system, your body's fight or flight response, is flawed and it's stuck there. In our battery analogy, your system isn't just running, it's overheating, it's glowing red, melting the plastic casing, and it's 1 degree away from a complete meltdown. In the Energize framework, we call this the mobilization trap, and it's one of the most celebrated forms of leadership burnout because it looks exactly like high performance. This is the fight stress response, one of the 4 leadership stress signatures I teach leaders to recognize. When fight becomes your default pattern, it becomes your burnout driver. You push, control, demand, force solutions. Everyone celebrates it and sees it as success, but it's actually destroying you. This state manifests as an inability to rest without feeling intense guilt or anxiety. You might finish a huge project and instead of feeling relief, your first thought is, what's next? You fill every spare second with a task, checking emails, was in line for coffee, listening to a business podcast, was walking the dog. Stillness feels unproductive and therefore dangerous to you. When you're in this state of chronic overactivation, your brain functions go offline, even if you don't realize it. Your short-term memory, for example, gets worse. So you find yourself rereading the same paragraph multiple times or forgetting why you walked into a room. Your attention is scattered, jumping from thought to thought, making deep focus work nearly impossible. You essentially live in a persistent brain fog. To compensate for this internal chaos, you pour in extra mental energy and sheer willpower just to perform at your normal level. From the outside, this looks like tireless ambition, but internally it's an exhausting, desperate battle just to keep your head above water. This state is often described as feeling wired. Your body is burning through immense amounts of energy just to stay vigilant, leaving you feeling agitated, jittery, anxious, but also deeply, profoundly ineffective. It's like a phone that's so scorching hot to touch that you can't use it anymore. You might notice constant muscle tension in your jaw, in your neck, in your shoulders, or a feeling of extreme irritability when you're interrupted or when things don't go to plan. This frantic productivity isn't fueled by passion, it's a survival mechanism. Your nervous system is trying to outrun the impending exhaustion. And that frantic pace is what everyone else mistakes for drive. You're not performing at peak capacity. You're operating in emergency mode. And emergency mode isn't sustainable. The second sign is having almost no emotional bandwidth, which is often praised as calm professionalism. You handle crises without breaking a sweat. When chaos erupts at work, you're the only one that seems stoic, composed, and in control, the very picture of a steady, unshakable leader. Your team might see you absolutely as the rock, but this isn't emotional mastery, it's emotional exhaustion in disguise. If overactivation is an overheating battery, this is the opposite problem. A battery so depleted, it can't hold charge anymore. You can leave it plugged in all night, practicing all the right self-care rituals, but you still wake up to a dead device. This is a state of underactivation, what we call dorsal vagal shutdown or the freeze response. This emotional flatness is a protective mechanism. It happens when chronic stress impairs the brain's ability to regulate emotions, effectively blunting your ability to feel, well, anything. What most leaders don't understand is that this often happens after years of chronic fight response. Your system tried overactivation for so long, pushing, controlling, forcing, that it finally gave up and collapsed into freeze mode. You're literally running on empty, but you look professional doing it. So whilst you look totally calm and collected on the outside, it's only because the screen is off. Internally, you might be experiencing a silent storm of cynicism and negativity, or you might feel nothing at all, just a profound sense of apathy and disconnection from your work, your colleagues, and even your own life. People often describe this state as going through the motions or feeling like they're watching their life from behind a thick pane of glass. This emotional numbness allows you to function under extreme stress, but the cost is immense. It robs you of joy, connection, passion, and the ability to feel truly alive. You might receive great news and only feel a flicker of what you know should be excitement. You might spend time with loved ones and feel a sense of distance. Your calm composure isn't a sign of strength, it's a sign that your emotional circuit breakers have tripped to prevent a complete system overload. The critical distinction here is that regulated leaders can access emotions and choose their response. Shutdown leaders can't access emotions at all. One is leadership mastery, the other one is a protective dissociation. And in the boardroom, that difference matters enormously. Right, now sign number 3, not getting sick until you go on holiday. This one will probably resonate with so many high achievers. You power through months of intense stress, impossible deadlines and long nights, and you don't get sick. You feel invincible, like a machine that just won't quit. And then the moment you go on holiday, the second you're supposed to relax and enjoy your time off, you collapse. You get a raging cold, a debilitating flu, a pounding migraine, or some other illness. I experienced this for years and I thought it was just terrible luck. It wasn't. It was my nervous system finally getting permission to stop fighting and immediately discovering how much damage needed repair. This isn't just a case of bad luck. It's a well-documented biological phenomenon, sometimes called the letdown effect. For weeks or months, your body has been in emergency power mode, running on the stress hormone cortisol. Think of cortisol as your body's crisis manager. It has been diverting all energies to the immediate threat and ignoring all the blinking check engine lights because it's too busy fighting off what it perceives as a life-threatening attack, which in reality is just your overflowing inbox and back-to-back meetings. This is your nervous system postponing the crash. You're not resilient, you're operating on deferred maintenance. Your immune system is being suppressed, tissue repair is being postponed, and inflammation is being held at bay because you're in survival mode. The moment you finally stop, the moment your brain signals that the threat is gone, your body feels safe enough to stand down. Your cortisol levels drop dramatically, and this signals to your immune system, which has been suppressed to conserve energy, that it can finally come back online. Suddenly, it decides to run every single diagnostic, repair process and security scan it's been putting off for months. All the inflammatory responses it held back are unleashed at once. Your body isn't breaking down because you're resting. It's breaking down because rest is the first chance it's had to show you just how exhausted and damaged it really is. That holiday sickness is your battery finally running its long overdue and very disruptive system update. It's the bill for all the biological debt that you've been racking up. True resilience and nervous system agility is not never breaking down. True resilience is regulated capacity that allows for both exertion and recovery without complete collapse. If you are recognizing yourself in any of these signs, please know that's a critical and courageous first step. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign that your body has been carrying an impossible load for far too long. Okay, now sign number 4. You need the pressure to function. The fourth sign is this deeply ingrained feeling that you need pressure to get anything done. People call this thriving under stress, but there's a huge difference between rising to a challenge and being utterly unable to function without one. You might even be proud of this trait, telling yourself and others, I just work best under pressure. When your nervous system is chronically overactivated, your baseline state is one of high alert. In this state, a calm, quiet, low-demand environment feels deeply uncomfortable, even agitating. So using our analogy, your internal battery is now so damaged it can't be charged with a normal outlet anymore. It needs a massive high voltage jumpstart just to flicker to life. Stillness feels like an enemy because it provides no juice. Without the lightning strike of a looming deadline to kick your system into high gear, you feel lethargic, unmotivated, foggy and unable to focus. This isn't thriving, it's stress dependency. Your body has become so accustomed to running on the potent chemical cocktail of stress, adrenaline and cortisol, that it now relies on external crises to create the rush needed for basic action. In the energized work, we distinguish between stress capacity, the ability to mobilize energy when needed, and this is a leadership skill, and stress dependency, which requires constant stimulation to function. This is more like an addiction almost. When you're stress dependent, you unconsciously create crisis because chaos is the only state where your nervous system can access focus and drive. This leads to that classic destructive cycle of procrastinating on a task, followed by an intense sleepless panic to meet the deadline at the very last possible second. It's a pattern of chasing chaos because chaos is the only environment that provides a strong enough jolt to get your engine started. This constant demand for stress hormones prevents any chance of genuine recovery, keeping you trapped in a roller coaster of artificial highs and devastating crashes. The pressure was never helping you perform, it was the only state that you knew how to perform in. That's not sustainable leadership. That's survival mode with a good salary and an impressive title. So the fifth sign is being always available, a trait that modern work culture praises as dedication, commitment, and strong leadership. So you're maybe answering emails at 10 o'clock at night, you're taking work calls on the weekend, your team sees you as the ultimate team player, the reliable one who's always there to solve a problem. But this constant open door is a fast track to a complete nervous system collapse. And here's what most people don't realize. This isn't leadership. This is the fawn response. Chronic people-pleasing disguised as professional dedication. Fawn is one of the 4 survival responses I teach leaders to identify, and it's the most socially rewarded. It looks like generosity, commitment, team-oriented leadership, but underneath, it's underactivation and a lack of self-protection. A shutdown state, essentially, where your nervous system has learned that your worth depends on other people's approval. So you say yes when you actually mean no, or you prioritize everyone else's needs over your own. You can't set boundaries because rejection feels existentially threatening. Being always on means your body and brain never get the crucial signal that it's safe to stand down, to rest, and to repair. It's like keeping your laptop constantly plugged in with the screen at full brightness, running a dozen processor-heavy programs and never, ever letting it go into sleep mode. The battery is simultaneously overheating from overuse and being drained from constant activity, never getting a chance to cool down or properly recharge. Whilst you're being praised for your availability, your actual performance is likely suffering in ways you might not even notice. You might be slower to complete tasks, make more careless mistakes, or find yourself feeling increasingly cynical and resentful towards the very people making the demands. This isn't leadership. It's self-abandonment, born from a nervous system stuck in survival mode. Your hard-won reputation as a reliable leader becomes a golden cage, trapping you in a cycle of depletion that's celebrated as commitment, all whilst your internal battery is flashing red and on the verge of frying completely. True leadership isn't about being an infinite resource. It's about modeling health and sustainability for those who look up to you. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're leadership, infrastructure, and success assets. When you're depleted, you're not serving anyone well, not your team, not your organization, and certainly not yourself. So let's recap these 5 deceptive signs of success. That relentless productivity, that's really chronic overactivation. Your fight response, overheating the battery. That calm professionalism, that's actually dorsal vagal shutdown. Your freeze response, leaving the battery too depleted to hold a charge. Getting sick the moment you rest because your system is finally running its long overdue maintenance. Needing the pressure of a crisis to function because you've developed stress dependency. Your battery requires a high voltage jumpstart just to turn on. And being always available because your fawn response has broken your power saving mode entirely. In the Energized framework, we call these patterns your burnout drivers, the stress responses you overuse that got you to leadership but are now breaking you. These are not badges of honor, they are the symptoms of a nervous system that has been pushed past its limits, crying out for a different way of living and working. Our culture glorifies overexertion and treats the human body like a machine that should run indefinitely without maintenance. But true sustainable success isn't about how much you can endure. It's about creating a life where you have energy left at the end of the day, not just a longer to-do list for tomorrow. Recognizing these patterns in yourself is the first most powerful step towards reclaiming your health and your life. And now for the good news. Nervous system agility is a learnable skill. You can move from stress dependency to nervous system capacity, from emotional shutdown to emotional agility, from postponed crashes to genuine resilience. In my work with high achievers, leaders, and executives, I teach the SHIFT framework, which is a 90-second protocol you can use in real time to sense your state, identify your habitual stress response, and then intervene with the right technique. Because sustainable leadership starts with understanding that your nervous system isn't just a biological system, it's your leadership operating system. When you learn to regulate it, everything changes. Your decision quality improves, your relationships deepen, your team feels safer, and your capacity expands. And you stop burning through your most precious resource, yourself. Your nervous system is your operating system, so when you optimize it, everything else becomes possible. The goal isn't to just have a productive battery that serves your job. It's to have one that is fully charged, healthy, and present for your own life, for the moments that matter, the people you love, and the legacy you would want to leave. If you want to learn the exact frameworks I use with leaders to move from burnout to sustainable high performance, explore my resources in the description, because the goal isn't just to be productive, it's to be present for your own life. So maybe share in the comments which of these signs resonates with you the most. By talking about it, we start to dismantle the toxic myth that burnout is a personal failure. And if you want to learn how to start regulating your nervous system, make sure you check out this video, because this is where I cover actionable and totally practical solutions for you. I hope this has been really helpful for you, and thanks for watching. Stay safe, subtle and strong, and I'll see you in the next one.